Welcome to Know Your Money, where we will explore our relationship with money and how the psychology of it impacts our financial decisions, as everyone thinks about money differently. In our podcast, we'll be presenting a variety of financial topics in an easy-to-understand way, which we hope will assist you with managing your money. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Know Your Money. How are you, Craig? How are you, Warren?
Great to see you, Bron. And Warren, how are you?
Always a pleasure, guys. Nice to see you too.
Never a chore.
Never a chore.
Awesome stuff. So today we want to discuss when you are young, should you be insured or not? So basically when you're 18 or so, or just in your young age. Most people don't see it as a necessity to be insured. But Craig, what's your opinion?
I think it's very important to insure yourself against possible future things that could happen. So maybe life insurance is not necessary while you're just young. But interesting that Bidvest Life will offer students at university a loss of income protection policy, which I think that's the most important cover to have, to insure your income against an injury or an illness which could happen. And if that person is unable to work from, say, 18 years old until 65 years old or 70 years old, if you calculate the money that that person would have earned over that period of time, it's probably tens of millions of rands. So insuring yourself against the loss of income potential is very important. And interesting to see that Bidvest Life will do a product that will help students. And I think we all remember back to when we were young in our 20s, the absolute silly things we did. We drove badly. We did lots of silly, jumped off roofs, did silly things that could have caused major damage. And some of our friends, unfortunately, are in that position today. So insuring yourself against the possibility of that happening is very important. Another thing that to consider is severe illness cover, because these diseases happen when you get to my age. You two are a little bit young for that, but it happens, and then you can't get more cover. Okay. Insurance companies won't give me more cover. Oh, you're too old. If you can get cover, it costs a lot more money. So while you're young, you are able to get that severe illness cover that'll cover you for the horrible things like cancer, heart, etc. So that's one of the major reasons why you start insuring yourself young.
Yeah. But I think a point that you said there is, I feel like when we're younger, we all think we're going to live forever and that nothing's going to happen to us. And like, why should I insure myself? Do you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
You don't see yourself as being hurt. But what I found so interesting is so many people will have car insurance, but not life insurance. You know, and your point is important, I think, because a lot of people think that life insurance is just on your life. But what you just pointed out is there's income protection, there's severe illness. So we'll chat about those and some of the other topics. But life insurance or life cover is not just about on your life. It's about helping you with those diseases or, God forbid, disabilities.
Okay, I think so. I would say the reason most people will do car insurance rather than some form of life cover is, what can I afford? A lot of people will probably think that they can't afford both. And so if I don't have my car, I can't get to work.
Yeah. And also the likelihood of you having a car accident is probably
a bit higher.
If we're playing a
numbers game,
so
I'm sure it's a lot higher.
I do get that.
Yeah. But then, so if you could maybe elaborate. So let's say I'm a young man again and I'm 20 and I decide to get a critical illness cover, or what was the work one?
Income protection?
Yes, income protection. What would you estimate?
So there's so many factors that get taken into consideration. So it's, do you smoke or don't you smoke? Do you have a degree? What is your level of income? So what Craig was saying with Bidvest Life and Discovery also have the classic smart plan. Not classic, just smart plan for younger people, because they see, like, if you go and study law, you can have a very low salary, but it would increase down the line.
Yeah.
So you can't exactly say how much it will cost. But what I always do with clients, it doesn't really matter what age it is. I say, let's look at your budget and find an affordability. So if you're young and you can afford 300 Rand, for example, then I would say, okay, of that 300 Rand, let's give you so much of this and so much of that. So something rather than nothing.
Yeah.
So I think the question more is not how much will it be, it's how much can you spend? And let's just have that as your starting block and your starting point.
See, I think that's really, really good way to say it, because I don't think a lot of people will think like that.
Yeah.
They will think, right, I have to have car insurance, I have to have medical aid.
Yeah.
Because I have to have those things, or I can't get to work, or I can't pay the hospital bill. I'll do those, but that's all I'll do.
Yeah.
Because they don't know. I mean, I didn't know. I still don't know. I'm learning every time we do a podcast.
Yeah.
But Warren, you can do without car insurance, and you can do without medical aid, because you can go to a state hospital. Obviously.
No, that's true. My
you don't
sister
want to go,
works at one, yeah.
But you can go to a state hospital. And a car, okay, the liability to the other car might be, hits a very expensive car. But if you lose your car for whatever reason, there's an amount of money you're going to lose. If you don't earn an income for the rest of your life, that's tens of millions of rands. It's far. But I think what people realize, the fear is that the car goes tomorrow. What about then?
Yeah.
That's why I must insure it.
I think it's short term. I think it's if I need to go to the hospital, I need cover. That could happen in a car accident. It's all very short term thinking, but no one, like you said, Bronwyn, no one at the age of 20 is thinking, well, I'm going to get an illness that stops me from working.
Yeah.
I'm going to break my back.
And that's the thing. That's why your budget is so important. So if Craig and I have a meeting with a client, they say, I can afford X amount. Then within that X amount, we've got to give you medical aid. We've got to give you these things. So for someone that's young, rather go on to the lowest hospital plan, because you are quite healthy, and spend that 300 Rand that you would have spent going on the higher plan on having life insurance as well. Because this way you're sort of hedging all of your bets and protecting all the different areas. So I find that happens often with young people, is they say, I can't afford it because I have other things. But when you dig deeper, the medical aid, their plan that they're on, they could maybe go one lower and still be as well protected, but then have that extra 500 Rand.
I completely agree. That's something we did with my wife, is actually put her onto a lower plan, because she was on a ridiculously high plan for her needs.
And I think what happens as well, if you look at the cost of the cover for the loss of income protection, the severe illness cover, because you're younger, it's a lot less, and you'll be surprised that it's probably maybe even less than your car insurance when you look at it in that way. And another way of looking at it is to say, if you had a chicken that laid golden eggs, would you insure the chicken or the eggs?
No, the chicken.
Yeah, exactly. So insure yourself.
Am I a chicken here?
Yes. You must insure yourself instead of your car.
No, I agree.
Because you can get another car, but you can't get another self.
Yeah, it's eye-opening, because, again, I didn't think like this. I don't think like this. I don't think many people listening think like that. And that's the value added of a financial planner. This is what you guys do. If I was left up to my own devices, it would be terrible. Yeah.
And I mean, my dad, so just before I was born, he had this friend that was a new salesperson, probably Liberty or something. Just take it. And thank God he actually did take it, because just before I was born, he was in a major car accident and was completely blind. And he went to blind school, and he can now see out of the one eye. But if he didn't have that cover, he may not be where he is today in life, because that did help with something.
Yeah.
And what person sitting in this room or listening to this podcast doesn't know someone that's had cancer, a heart attack, stroke, something like that? Severe illness is so, so real. And if you don't take the cover out young enough, you're never going to be able to insure yourself. And it really can leave you in such a tough spot.
Correct.
Making me so nervous.
You should be. No jokes. But this is why we find this so important to share with people, because we don't want you to be nervous. We don't want a life situation to come along and for you to be nervous. And just one thing, Craig, you said life cover may not be important when you're young. I do agree with that, but I also think that you should add a little bit on, because you never know if you're going to be able to get it later. And I had a client, she died, shame, very young, and she had a car that needed to be paid off and all of those things, and that wasn't covered. Or if you
so
buy
we're
a house.
We're talking about the effect it may have on your family.
Exactly.
Yeah, whoever's ends up being, the one paying the bill.
Yeah. So people that aren't married don't think that it's important, but you also don't want to do that to your parents or siblings. Or,
I suppose, very important.
And while you're young, as we've seen, the rates are very good for young people, especially life assurance.
Yeah, and you can go on standard rates, which means that the increases are standard. You don't necessarily have to go on age rated, which increases every year with age. That's quite technical, but...
No, that makes sense, because you become a bigger risk as you get older.
Yes. Yeah. So, and you don't have to have one life policy for your whole life. So you can have one that has this stuff and another one that has that. So it's always good to just start somewhere.
Yes, correct.
Awesome stuff. So take homes from this episode, I think, are get insurance.
Yeah, meet your financial planner early and make sure you cover in the right areas.
Yeah. And also if you have a child, get them to see your financial advisor.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Awesome, guys.
Great,
Thank
guys.
you.
Have a good day. Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this podcast or would like to subscribe, please visit our website, www.growthfp.co.za. The information we have provided in this podcast is our personal opinion. For more detailed information, please discuss your financial situation with a financial planner.